I hear a little echo, but hey, that echo just let me know, hey, the size of the crib. That's all the echo just, hey, I know, I know that, hey, y'all that's watching right now, I know y'all hear that echo, but you're a CFL legend, bro. Yeah, you living right. God is good, though, man. But hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy JK. Today is Thursday, so you already know what it is. It's Tackle Thursday with JK live on IG. And I'm recording for my YouTube channel, which you can go subscribe to after this episode, which is Jeremy Kellem. And you can go and subscribe to the podcast, Tackle Thursday with JK Podcast, on podcasting platforms such as Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure y'all get on those podcast platforms to be able to sign up and subscribe to the podcast. YouTube, go and listen and watch the YouTube channel, man. Also, man, my family about to drop our YouTube channel as well. So that, hey, be tuned in for that. All right. And so, man, today I got a special guest today. This is my first guest of 2023. Last year, 2022, he hopped on one of my episodes back in like September, October. We'll talk about Deion Sanders. I think it actually was December. And I told him, hey, you got to come on the show, man. And so for my guest for today, he hails from the Show Me State, St. Louis, Missouri, to be exact. So I already know he had some Air Force Ones on, because he had to, being from St. Louis. All right, if you're an MTSU Blue Raider fan, then you know him balling in the MTSU secondary back in the day. So we kind of like, we're a little older back in the day. But if you some CFL fans, fanatics, then you know him as a two-time Grey Cup champion, CFL legend in my eyes. And then if you meet, then you know him as Big Bro, someone that I have looked up to and watched and been inspired by from afar. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all help me welcome my special guest, Mr. Keon'n Raymond. Let him in. Yo, what up with you, Keon'n? How you doing, dog?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm so good. I'm excited. I'm excited to be on, man. So we good. Did you hear echo? We good?
I hear a little echo, but hey, that echo just let me know, hey, the size of the crib. That's all the echo just, hey, I know, I know that, hey, y'all that's watching right now, I know y'all hear that echo, but you're a CFL legend, bro. Yeah, you living right. God is good, though, man. But hey, how you doing, bro? You doing good?
Man, I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. Oh, man, God is good, man. I tell you what, man. You know, it's a little windy and a little snowy out here up north, though, man. But I can't complain, man. It's a blessing to be able to open your eyes and have breath this morning. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, some people didn't get up this morning. But I'm thankful by the grace of God that you chose me to open my eyes this morning, though. But you know, it's good, man. I'm excited. I'm glad to be on the Tackle Thursday. You know what I mean? I've been a fan of it, man. I appreciate the introduction, man. Big props on what you're doing, JK. I really love it, man. From inspiring to a lot of the youth in Tennessee, man. From speaking engagement, y'all make sure y'all go give my brother a follow here. I'm telling you, he's awesome, man. So yes, let's get into it.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. And man, I had to have you on, man. Like I said, you know, a lot of times you could be inspired by somebody that you don't talk to as often, or might not even had a long sit down with, man. And you've been that person. I kind of get into that, man, after I let you introduce yourself a little bit more, man. So, you know, man, I know you are a legend, man, in Canada and in the US, man. And so for those that are watching that may not know you, or those that'll see this or listen to this in down the road, man, in the near future, not 10 years from now, man, tell the people who is Keon'n Raymond, what you do. Tell them a little bit about you, man, about yourself.
Well, you know what, man? First off, man, I got 3 things I sit in my bio on IG, man, and that's faith, family, and football. You know, come from St. Louis, you know what I mean? Right now, I got a wife, you know, 4 kids, man. My oldest one, he just got a scholarship offer to play University of Alberta up here in Canada, man. Super proud of him, you know what I mean? Especially as a dad, you know, kind of see him walking in those footsteps, not push, but he's walking in those footsteps as well too, man. And you know, since after my 10-year playing career, I decided to, kind of get into sport, you know what I mean? Like having a business degree at Middle Tennessee, and, you know, wanting to expand on that. People don't know, man, when you play football, you know, you play in the arena for a long time. And when you hang those cleats up, man, like there's a lot of adjusting that you have to do. You know what I mean? Because it ain't the lights and the fame no more, though. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I hear that, man, and but congrats, man, congrats to you and your wife, man, your kids, man, and I know you bit proud of your son, man, because that to see them go off to school, but then to see them, like you said a key word, you said walking, you didn't push him, he's walking in your footsteps, and I think that's huge, man, because my kids, they getting older, my son playing sports, and I don't want to ever push him in, like, man, you got to do this for me. You got to, and it's like, nah, I'm gonna introduce it to you. And if you choose, that's the way you want to go. Then that's the way you go, man. And so, man, I seen you post that the other day, bro. So, hey, congrats to y'all, man. I know that is exciting, man. And I'm just excited just to hear more about your story. And I want those that are watching it and to, to hear more about your story as well. And anytime, man, those that are watching the podcast for the first time, man, the Tackle Thursday with JK podcast is a self-help podcast that targets young adults that are in the midst of establishing foundations of their lives in specific areas such as their career, relationship status, and or their role as a parent. And so anytime, man, that I got a guest on or I'm on here by myself, I tackle different topics. Like, you played a lot of football, you made a lot of tackles. I played a lot of football, made a lot of tackles. And so though we don't play, like you mentioned, you got to make that adjustment. So one of the things that I adjusted and started doing is having a podcast tackling different topics. And so when I have a guest on, the topic that I have on the flyer, was for you is Mr. Canada, right? Trailblazer up north. Because anytime I come up with a topic for my guests, it's something either they say that about themselves or in a way that I see them. And when I see you, man, I see Mr. Canada. I see a trailblazer up north, because me at MTSU, I'm not thinking about Canada, man. I'm trying to go play in the league, right? That's our mindset, right? We thinking that success is one way. The only way to make success or have success as a football player, I got to go to the league, or I got to play in the U.S. And what I want the young adults and those that's watching and will watch to take from your story and as in this episode is that to open your minds up to finding success in other places or in other avenues, because you found success not only in the U.S., but in a whole nother country, bro. And so, man, when I say Mr. Canada and I say Trailblazer up north, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you?
You know what, man? Like you said a lot there. Like the biggest thing too, and I was just with you when I came, from MTSU, man. The first thing you think about is, man, I'm going to the league. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing else. My thought process is I'm going to the league, and when I had an opportunity to go down there, and then I played arena for a bit, but then you see there's another opportunity. If I think the first team I seen in Canada was the Eskimos, Edmonton Eskimos or something, and I'm like, man, I ain't going to no Canada, man. I'm married. I think it snowed 12 months out the year. So but when you speak about that though, it honestly, man, I like to take it back to almost to a Abraham prophet, a prophecy of being able to, I will show you the land, for you to have, for just flowing with milk and honey, and for me, I'd have never thought that coming up to Canada, I'd be up here, this is going on 12 years now, man. I never thought I'd be up here for 12 years. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, hey, plan was to be up here for 6 months and we're going to move back to Murfreesboro, buy us a house. And then that's what it's going to be. And you talking about 12 years later, you know what I mean? Like, when God has a plan and opening up doors for you, you don't know. You just have to have faith in being able to walk through. And so, me having the courage. First, I had to get my wife to get on board because she don't like the cold. She don't mind the snow for Christmas.
Yeah. That's it. Hey. She like my wife. My wife like stuff for pictures, right? That snow look good for the pictures. But not the live in though. It look good for the postcard, but not the live in, man. But that's man, that's powerful. So you say you've been out there 12 years.
12 years, man. My daughter was born up here. She's born in 2010 up here. So she's the only Canadian kid that we have. So she got dual citizenship. So she kind of come back and forth though. But like, even when we were staying, I was like, man, this is a whole different country. You know what I mean? It's a whole different way of life. You know, it's a whole different setting. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of times I felt like a true minority. You know what I mean? Like, whereas in the States, I mean, you seen as a black man, they're always kind of classifying you as a minority. But here, you know, and I remember the first time I jumped on the elevator, man. I had somebody speaking Arabic, somebody speaking Cantonese. You know what I mean? Somebody speaking Mandarin. Like, and I'm like. That's like, I don't know what nobody's saying, you know, but it just shows the diversity of cultures that are here, you know what I mean, in Canada, and whereas everybody has an opportunity. And I think I was reading an article, one article was saying, like, you know, Canada is almost now like the new American dream. Where the original, when people was like the American dream of growing up, you work hard, you do this, and now that's getting to the point to where it's kind of is in Canada. And so, like, man, we've put in a lot of work, man. I put in, even with growing the football and me, you know, retiring and, you know, wanting to stay up. You know, Bianca, she ready to come back to Murfreesboro. She ready. She got me looking at plots already. She ready.
So do you think y'all ever transition, you know what I'm saying, to come back to the States? Or, you know, you think you kind of see it, like, I mean, living in Canada is like, where is that? Like,
no, you know what? I think that is the goal to being able to transition. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when we set up and we decided to stay as long as we have after that first 6 months. And we told each other, like, you know what, let's make sure we put ourselves in a position, you know, because, you know, where we from, man, you don't want to go somewhere and come back and be on the same level. No, you want to come back. You want to say that this is what the journey was. And we come back with, you know what I mean? I took what God gave me, that, whether it's that one piece of gold, that 2 or that 5, and I multiplied that, you know? And so we're in the phases of multiplying, you know, what God has entrusted us with. And so right now, I was like, you know what, our goal is to, like, when I retire, you know what I mean, is to Murfreesboro gonna be home. Like, that's the spot where we gonna hang the hat and we gonna sit up and, you know, give me a nice little acreage or so and sit out and watch over those hills, man, and enjoy and be thankful, you know what I mean, about the you know, the things that God has presented for us in life. So you know, that's the goal though, you know, but there's a lot of work to be done up here too, man. I'm still young. I'm 40 years young this year. So, you know,
you still young.
Work to do.
I think the older we get, the younger we realize we are. You know what I mean? And because I think when we were younger, at 20,
I gotta clap on that one.
Hey, that was a bar right there. Hey, appreciate you. Hey, but because I think when I'm 21, I looked at, because y'all had teammates that were playing in a 20, you know what I'm saying? They were like 30. And I was 22. I was like always like the youngest on the team. So I went to the Arena League, the youngest on the team, everybody, you know, older. When I was playing in the UFL first, them boys was like business, you know, because a lot of them boys played in the league. So they mind, you know, and their bank account was on a whole different level. So it was like exposing me to stuff. And you look, and I'm like, okay, you 30 and you old, you this. And it's like, when I became 30, now I'm 33, about to be 34. So it's like, you realize, like, yo, I got so much life. And it's encouraging. And that's what I want people to understand, even my young adults out there and people that are older than that, is just to realize, like, when I look at Steve Harvey, when I look at these people that in their latter years, you know, when I mean latter, I'm talking about, you know, in their 50s, 60s, they hit their sweet spot. They live in life, like life getting sweeter for them. So I'm like, how can I think that because I crossed over 30 that my life is ending? Nah, man, I'm just getting started, man. And man, congrats to all the success that God is blessing you with, and y'all are expanding and multiplying it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't just hiding your talent, you going out multiplying it, man. And so and we gonna definitely harp more on, you know, being in Canada. But I want to go back, because I like, you know, a lot of people that follow, that know you, they know Grey Cup champion, right? Keon'n Raymond, they know, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Canada. But let's go back to St. Louis, you know what I'm saying? When you was rocking, like I said, you had the forces on, man, I know, with Nelly. But
two per.
You had to have 2 per. Hey, but like, go back to that, man. Like, how was it growing up in, man, St. Louis, man?
You know what, man? I don't think St. Louis is probably different than any other town, you know what I mean? Especially, in the US, what we're dealing with, So, I grew up, man. I started my first from, I think, grade from kindergarten to like ninth grade, staying with my mom. And then when I got to high school, I moved with my dad, and so it was almost kind of that, all right, I'm gonna teach you this man type influence, and this is what we're gonna do. But then you got a lot of guys too, man, and I'm pretty sure you can attest to. You go around, man, like I got an opportunity to play professional, man. To say that I was probably one of the best ones on my high school team, probably not. You know what I mean? It was, it was a lot of things that I was willing to do or not do, that allowed me to continue to success, whereas, you got a lot of these kids in high school today, man, they think, okay, well, man, I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna go smoke some weed, or I'm gonna go drink, or I'm gonna go do this, but, then it's okay to be late for workout. And so, I'm still balling though. You know what I mean? The mindset of, this skill that I have, that's all I need. You know what I mean? This ability, that's all I need. And one thing my dad told me, he was like, man, football is so much more than the skill that you possess, that God-given skill that you possess. You know what I mean? It's so much more than that. It's your character, your integrity, you showing up on time, you doing the little things, you listening. You know what I mean? Your coaches understanding, knowing that if you trying to, go to college, you go to class. Like you don't in high school, you don't miss class if you're trying to go to college. It
don't match. Hey, that don't match.
It don't match. It don't match. You can't sit there and say, I remember we had a buddy of mine, and we come to our coach used to get all the letters and coming in, man. And he'd be like, Keon'n, letters, Purdue, and all those. Oh, he felt good, didn't it, man? When you come in, stack of letters.
He felt real good. Hey.
And so he's like, hey, coach, why ain't got no letters coming? He's like, I looked at your grade point out, but I didn't think you wanted to go to college, And so he wasn't actively putting his name out there. But like I said, I tip my hat to my coach, because a man of faith by works. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what, like even where I didn't grow up in church though, but that faith of working towards something, even believing that it could come to pass, that I was going to step into it. Whereas a lot of people, oh, I'm going to just believe, but I'm going to sit back. And I'm not believing. I'm going to just let God move, because God can make sure this happen. God can make sure that happen. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to keep stepping towards what I want to. And when that opportunity comes, I'm going to be ready, And so, but St. Louis it was crazy though, man. Like, I enjoyed it, man. I got a chance to meet my wife in St. Louis. I remember I met her at my my aunt's beauty salon. You know what I mean? I know I used to go there all the time on the Saturdays, because you 16, 17, man.
You know what you were doing?
They want to get their hair done on the weekend.
Hey, but that's faith. Hey, that's that faith with the words though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm looking for wifey. But I can't just sit back, think wifey gonna drop in my lap. I gotta go put myself in position. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So I sit there and I mess around, and first, I've never seen her there before, and I got a chance to meet her at my aunt's salon, and she was the only one in there one day, so it had to be. I don't know why I came there that day. I was there, and I had to be there to that day though, and so. But yeah, so we kind of got it going, in St. Louis, and once I kind of got going, it was one of those things where, it was time to leave to go to college now. So I met her, and you talking about derailing. I don't even want to say derail. You know what I mean? When you talking about decision making as a young man, we ended up having my oldest son. I think I was like 19 years old. You know what I mean? So you're talking about my freshman year in junior college, I got a son, and the statistics, with that, guys, it's like, you know what I mean? You ain't working, you gotta work, you can't go play ball, you can't, and I was gracious enough that God has placed a woman in my life that understood what the mission was. She was young, but she understood that I ain't gonna be out here acting crazy or trying to mess up what he got going, because he's doing this, and a better him doing that is gonna be a better us. And so yes.
Now that's to have the concept of us at 19 years old. That is mind blowing. And I'm glad you said that, man. That's why I went before the show when you told me I was married in college. I'm like, bro, that's powerful because like think about young adults. We all about right now, man. Yo, average 18, 19, 20, 25-year-old, they still about them. Man, I gotta get a career right. Hey, I gotta do me. I'm all about. But to be in a relationship at a young age and have the concept of us, when she like when you win, we win. You know what I'm saying? And I know you like when she win, we win. And man, it's the same way, you know what I'm saying, man, with me and my wife, man. So man, that's power in that, man. That's power in that, man. And so so you say you went to JUCO, in JUCO. So you having to balance being a father and playing ball. How was that?
And a young man too, though.
Young man.
You know what I'm saying? And a young man, you know, like as much as, you know, you going away, you playing ball, I'm trying to, you know, balance classes, and I got a baby at the house, I got baby mama at the house, you know what I mean? And trying to find a balance, all those things, and it's trying to go to school. Now, decisions that I'm making, I got offers coming into schools now, you know, for me. Now, my offers, you know, it's not just about me now. It's about us together, you know, and so I remember, you know, we came back to St. Louis. Coach, he was the defense coordinator. Bradley Dale Pivotal, he was the defense coordinator at MT when I was there. Ended up leaving and going to LSU. You know what I mean? But he came in and he sat down in front of, you know, me and, you know, my wife and my mom at the time, sat in the living room. You know how they do, they spill when they try to recruit you and stuff. And I had little Keon'n, man, he running around in Pampers, you know what I mean? And I didn't know what was going on. I just know they wanted me. And he said, you know what, man, we got this thing called merit housing, where, you know what I mean, your full athletic scholarship will take care of the housing portion of what you guys got. Your family can come up here and they can stay with you, and you know what I mean, you can have these resources available to you, you know. And I'm sitting there looking like, I ain't never heard of nothing like that.
And that my first time. I was today years old when I found out. Married housing. Hey, so but I'm glad you're saying this, man, because people, you know what I mean, like need to know this. You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people think, man, my life is over, right? If I have a kid at this age or that, you know what I'm saying? I think, man, I got to give up my goals. I got to give up my dreams, you know. But hearing your story, like you said, now somebody could be like, hey, hold on, I thought I was going to have to give up that scholarship, but do they got married housing? You know, stuff like that, man. So I think that's power in that, man. So, okay, then. So you...
JK, I'll tell you, man, it was one of those things because, you know, even when I was doing my off season at JUCO, even though I was working at that, I was working at UPS. Man, I'm working at UPS, man, and you know, and I'm loading trucks and all that, and I got a kid, and this one she was pregnant, you know, and you know, and I'm like, man, I got to go to school because I'm telling you, man, like, man, I can't do this for 40 years. You know what I mean? Not if I have to. If I have to, I don't mind because I'm a man. I'm gonna make sure I take care of mine. You know, but I was like, I'm young, man. I got an opportunity. I remember my supervisor was like, man, you got a baby and we got really good insurance. And you can just stay here. We can get you to driving trucks, and you know what I mean. You can make some good money. You know what I mean. And you know, as enticing as that was, because where I come from, you know what I mean, it was always about make sure you grow up and you get a good job.
Good job. So you stay on there. You stay on there for 30, 40 years, and ain't nothing. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's your choice. Yes.
You know, so I was like, you know what, man, I appreciate that, but you know what I mean, I think God has a little bit more in store for me. You know what I mean, and I know I can come back to this, but I can't sit there and say, you know what I mean, 20 years from now that I can come back to play football because that's a young man's game. That's a young man's game, and they ain't gonna be wanting to pay for it then if I come back 30, 40 years. So I gotta pay for it.
Hey, that's real. They ain't gonna pay no scholarship at 35. Hey, talking about you want to play at 30. Nah, my boy.
Hey, ain't no Bobby Boucher.
Hey, ain't no Bobby Boucher. Not at all, man. So, so that's a lot in that, man, to one, trust that vision that you have for yourself, man, and knowing and to take a risk. Right, that was a risk, right? You taking, okay, I know I got UPS, I know I got this job for show money coming in, and we need the money, but to bet on yourself, right? To bet on yourself to go play college ball, then you get the MT. Like, how was that? on MTSU campus, you playing, you going to school, you married, your son here. Like, how was that, man?
Man, you know what? It was an awesome feeling though. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't want to be coy to think people that, you know what I mean, it was all peaches and cream. Because I tell you, man, you get I'm 21 when I got married, my wife is 20. And you get two young kids who really don't understand what the concept of marriage is. And just like, you know, and my first thought was like, yeah, I know I love her. You know what I'm saying? She got my kids, so I'm gonna go for it, and we're gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? And I think there's some grace and ignorance. You know, and to say that when I walked away from that UPS, you know what I mean, to go and play ball, you know what I mean? Like there was some ignorance. I think had I been a little older or something like that, I don't think I would have, you know what I'm saying? I'd have been like, I would have been in safe mode, you know? Whereas the youthfulness is like, no, I'm me. I'm do me. I'm gonna bet on me. I'm gonna make sure, you know what I mean, that my dreams gonna come true, and you know, I'm gonna put everything forth and doing it. But so when we got to Middle Tennessee, man, it was a point where this is the first time we've never lived together. Like that was the first time we ever lived together. We'd come and I'd stay the night at her place in St. Louis. I had my own, but it was the first time we literally lived together. And I tell you, man, it was a sight to see.
Hey,
hey, look, we had the campus police because we was yelling a lot. You know what I mean? We young. Yelling, you don't know. And they came, they like, look, now we got to come here one more time. We're gonna have to get y'all up out of here. All right. So we knew that grown mentality set up, like, okay, now we talking about our livelihood and living arrangements. We got to take a step back though, you know. But it was such a good opportunity, JK, because we had another a player on the team that was married as well too. I don't know if you know Pedro Holiday. Yeah, his son just signed with Air Force here. They from Georgia. Okay. But he had a son, he had two kids, a wife, and they stayed right across the hall from us in Womack. Okay. And so, but they had a family. His wife's dad was a preacher and a mom, and they should come by and visit all the time, you know. And so to me, like God put people in your place, in your path for you to, like, he may not speak directly to you, but he put people around you to show you his grace and show you this is how we move, this is how things go. And he put that couple around us, man, Pedro and Shonda Holiday, man, like what a blessing for us, me and my wife, because we saw like, okay, this is what a husband and wife supposed to do. And they're learning because they know they have an example. You know what I mean, from their parents, you know what I mean? Whereas, my parents were divorced when I was a young age. So I didn't really understand what marriage was. You know, you don't understand. And so, but having a joke of that, man, it was always good to come from class and come right back home. Yes, man. And then see my little man, like there's a couple pictures, man, when spring ball, he was at practice jumping over the bags, you know?
Oh man, I know that. Hey, and that's you know, it's because like you said, man, you know, it wasn't easy, right? That route, that path, man. But with everything, it comes with pros and cons. And you know, when I look back on my playing career, I wouldn't change anything, but I would have loved to have, you know, my kids, like if I could have played a little longer or whatnot, to watch me play. Because I put up on YouTube the other day because they said, Daddy ain't playing no football. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, man, I said, you know what?
they trying you.
Hey, this just happened the other day. I said, you know what? I said, we about to go in here. I said, I'm about to put it on YouTube and I'm about to show you Daddy played football. And so I would have, you know what I'm saying, liked to them to be a little older to watch, you know, to see me play, man. So I know, man, because I know the feeling I get to go home and you see your wife, your kids smiling, that love. So I know that was something to always look forward to, man, back in school, man. And man, that's awesome, man. And like you said, just having people, we talked about it before about the power of like marriage for our kids. Yes. And even though it's kind of like marriage is like taboo or being married for a long time now, it's
old fashioned.
Old fashioned. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, it's so important for our kids to see that, man. Like it's crazy because my kids, they talk about who they gonna marry down the road. But that's only because they see their mom and dad. You get what I'm saying? And so now they grow up with a positive outlook on marriage. And I understand, like, people grow up, you might see this, you might have a negative connotation or a negative image of marriage. But I think, man, being able to show your kids that healthy, you know what I'm saying, relationship and how they should be treated by the opposite sex, how they should treat the opposite sex, man, there's power in that, man. And so, man, just like, how was it though, like, when we talk about like actually getting on the field, how was like your playing career and that experience at MT, like leading into going to play pro?
Man, I tell you what, my first experience at MT was not a good one, brother.
Yeah.
Oh man, it wasn't, man. You know what? We had a different head coach at the time. I wish I could have played for Stock, man. I give big props to Coach Stock, man, because even when I came back from the NFL, he put me back on scholarship to allow me to finish my degree, which you know what I mean, he ain't have to. You know what I mean? So I'm indebted.
Not surprised though.
You know what I mean? Like just the character of that man though. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, my first year, man, like I didn't get a chance to play much. Like it was a lot of turmoil kind of going on with my DB coach, and it was like it wasn't the experience that when I got recruited it wasn't it.
hey, they rolled out the red carpet for you on your visit. Then that same they pick you up in a raggedy van. Hey, threw you in a raggedy dorm. Like, here you go, bro. Like, hold on, like.
They gave you a meal ticket. They ain't take you out to dinner. Nothing. You go eat at the hall.
Go eat at the hall. Not even the best one. Not even KUC. Hey,
no.
Hey, go to Corlew. Hey, go.
That's it. Go there.
No,
you know what, man. To me, it was one of those opportunities in life for me that it was about growth, and it allowed me to really think about, you know, life, not playing football. You know what I mean? Like it made me really, okay, I got a football scholarship, but I'm in college and I need to make sure that I do what I need to do to get a degree. Cause I ain't playing here. So right now it ain't looking like I know how the league work. It ain't looking like I'm about to go there. Cause you got to be on the field to get an opportunity to go there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And so even though like after my junior year, man, I went up to the coach, man, and I was going to transfer. I went up to him and I say, you know what, I appreciate the opportunity. And I think, you know what I mean? I think it's probably time for me to move on to a different school. I'm going to go back home to Missouri State. And because, you know what I mean? We got the same guys coming back. I didn't play, you know what I mean, this year. What makes me think I'm going to play, you know what I mean, next year? We got the same guys coming back. Yeah. And so, but he was like, you know, I got a new DB coach coming in. You know, just stay, try it out, you know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? I stayed. I said, you know, I'm going to stay. I did. That took a lot. I stay. I say, well, you know, if I'm going to stay, make sure I get number 2 then. Let me see how.
Hey. Hey, the power of negotiation.
Yes.
Hey, my young adults out there, hey, negotiate what you want. Now, if they trying to get something out of you, hey, come on, I stay. Got to give them that deuce, though. Hey.
Thank you. That's what it is.
Get your number, though. Hey, okay, then. So you got your number. And then you came back, new coach.
Yeah, but you know what, man? When you talk about coaches, man, and influence, and you can probably speak on this as well, man. Like the men that have coached us, or whatever it is, man and woman that have coached you in life. I mean, the encouragement that they give. And mine was Coach Derek Jones. He's actually at Virginia Tech right now. Been at Duke for a while though, but man of faith though, man, such an encourager. And I remember he told me, he was like, man, I don't know what you did, you know, to that coach, man, but he do not like you. He told me, like, he do not like you. I'm like, I don't know what it is either, man. Like, I don't be in trouble, man. I be at home with my wife and kids, but he said, but you know what, Keon'n, I know how this game works, and I know how my job works. And I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but while I'm here, I'm going to make sure I play the best guys that's going to give me the best opportunity to showcase what my talents and what my skills can do for in coaching. And he did, man. I started every game my senior year. First game I started, man, was in Alabama. You know what I mean? In Tuscaloosa, like I was, oh man, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I was a little upset because I can play here with these guys. Like I can play. Like they shorted me. Like God, was it not my time? You know, was it not my time? But you know, my time came that senior year, you know, and there was an opportunity and I got a chance to make some plays, man, and play. We didn't get a chance to go to a bowl game, what sucked. But I got an opportunity though to you know, to sign that with the Titans though. One of the scouts got a chance to watch me play one of them games I played. And you know, an opportunity came, you know, to you know, to chase a dream. And so yeah, man, it wasn't the best at all times, but it was one of those things that I think God needed to sharpen you in some instances, because who knows, man, like I go in there and I play and I ball out my junior year. You know what I'm saying? I come back my senior year, head may be like this. You can't talk to me. You know what I mean? God knows who his children are. He knows what to give you, know what to hold back from you, you know? And so I look at it like that, man. I look at it like that.
Nah, that's how do you think, how long it took you you think to grasp that mentally? Like, you know, and I explain why, because like from my story, how it took time for me to grasp and how that outlook, that perception. Like how long did it take? Or did you get it right away? Like while you was in the midst of going through that, it was like, yeah, you know, God, you know, is doing this, he's preparing me? Or did it come at a later date where you were able to conceptualize everything?
Yeah, you know what? It actually came later. You know what I mean? It did. It came a lot later. And I would say it came my first year in Canada when I really, like 2008, it came then, because my first year in Canada, we ended up winning the Grey Cup that year. But I came up and oh man, this is a story right here. So the all-star corner that we had, he ended up playing with the New England Patriots. He was a part of Legion of Boom with the Seahawks.
Okay, I know.
Brandon Browner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so he was playing. He ended up rolling his ankle or breaking his ankle in the semifinal game.
Yeah.
Before the Grey Cup. And so, you know, they like, all right, man, you know, Keon'n, you get ready, you practice, you know what I'm saying? You go. So I'm practicing, I'm running in. He ain't practicing all week, big game up. Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm probably about to play. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm like, all right, hope's not too high though. So I came in, you know, before the game. I ain't had my stuff was there. I ain't came in, I wasn't preparing to play. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, he may go. Man, coach came to me, was like, suit up, get ready. You on.
You in that Grey Cup.
Say less.
Hey, say less.
Say less.
Hey, yeah. So you said you showed up to the Grey Cup not knowing, oh, this is the finals. Oh, this is Grey Cup right here. This is the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So you showed up not knowing if you was gonna play. That's ain't no coach came in, suit up. Now you in the starting.
Now, but let me tell you this though. This adds salt on the wound right here. So they got to put their roster in an hour before. Yeah. So I come out, my buddy, he go and get his ankle shot up, and he get out there and play. He's like, no, we're gonna play him. He gonna go ahead and get out there. So now from not going to here to bringing it back down there, you know what I mean? And it was one of those things where I had to sit back and I was like, man, you know, the opportunity to really showcase what you can do, but also I sat back and thought like, man, my time at Middle Tennessee, like you were prime for this though. You know what I mean? To being able to handle this. You know what I mean? Like everybody else might not being able to handle this. I could have been on the sideline talking trash about, look at him, he over there, look why they, you know what I mean? Like envy, you know what I mean? Yeah. But God put that spirit in me. It's like, you know what? I wanted to see how you react. It's like one of those when he told Abraham, you know what I mean? Take the knife and you take Isaac up there. And I want to see how if you're gonna go through with it, you know. And so that was hard. It was hard, but it was one of those things. Like I said, I attest back to, you know, my time at Middle Tennessee, man. Like you learn from it, man. You learn from the opportunities that are given, you learn from the opportunities that are taken away, and the opportunities that are just not for you.
That's real, man. And I was listening to one of my old shows yesterday, man. And while I was listening, like God gave me a message, and it was like different battles, same principles, right? And I thought about how David, right? The bear, the lion, and Goliath were all different, all three different battles, but it was still same principles, right? He had to have faith in God, and he had to use his skill, right, to execute. So I think sometimes in life, every time a battle comes up, we get all flustered, including myself, right? But if we think and say, okay, this battle is a little different than last battle, but the same principles still apply. So that same lesson you learned. So like you said, from MT, hey, I wasn't playing. I had to, you know what I'm saying, sit back. It was something to learn. Even though the situation, same sport, but the situation was different. This is the Super Bowl of Canada, the Grey Cup championship. And this happening to you, different battles, but same principle that you were able to take from it, man. So that's definitely a blessing in that, man. So, you know, you went on to win another Grey Cup, 2-time All-Star, right? I think I actually watched the game. You don't you got like one of the longest picks?
Yes,
I was watching that game when you took that thing to the crib. So man, like just like how overall was the CFL experience, man? Like how was that life? And I want those that listen, like, because we grew up thinking, oh, it's NFL or nothing.
NFL, yeah.
But I see you go and you thrive and you prosper and you excel, man. How was that, man?
Man, you know what? It was a blessing though, man. Like to being able to play what it did do, it brought the love of football back to me though, playing up here. You know, when I was in the league, man, it's such a business. You know what I mean? And the NFL, it is such a business and it's cutthroat. And not to say that the CFL ain't cutthroat and it's a business too, but it was one of those things where it just like if you can play, man, they was gonna let you play. I mean, you was gonna get a chance to showcase what you can do, and you was gonna enjoy it. And I had fun. Like my kids got a chance to watch, family got a chance to watch, and it was just like, man, I'm getting a chance to play football. Like, I mean, I almost didn't come to Canada. Like I almost didn't. I'm telling you, I was. Cause you know what? So I double dipped this year. So 2008, I was playing for the New Orleans Voodoo Arena football. So I'm loving the Voodoo, man. Like arena football, like at that time, like man, you know, they took care of your housing. We had vision, we had dental. You know what I'm saying? They
hey, you had that good. That was that. Hey, that was that good time.
That was that good time. So
I know about that time.
Yeah, so when I came up to Canada, and I was like, Canada, you know what I mean? So I came up here. I had a buddy of mine, Pedro Holiday. I'll tell you, man, God put people in your presence, you know what I mean? His people to usher you into the ways where you should go. And I was coaching a high school in Tennessee at the time, Franklin Christian Academy. I just got the head coaching job there. Man, brand new high school. They just big props to them, man. They just built a big brand new facility in Franklin.
I be seeing them out there.
Yes, man. Nice turf field, everything. So I was the head coach, first head coach at the school.
Wow. Okay.
And so my buddy Calgary's calling me. He's like, hey, Keon'n, Pedro, he's like, man, you're a football player. Like, that's what you do. You know what I mean? Like, you need to go play football because that's what you do. Because I'm like, man, I can come back and I can play arena and you know what I mean? You're a football player. So I go. I mean, I heed those words and I go. And so now towards the end of the year, after the Grey Cup and all that, you know what I mean? Now I got New Orleans. I'm a free agent in New Orleans. Calgary, they want me to come back. So now it's a little negotiating board now.
There you go. Who
want big time now, you know?
Hey, bit fast.
So we get to a point, then they said that the arena league was gonna fold. And so Calgary was like, no, you can't go nowhere else. So now this is what we're gonna offer you. But it was one of those things to me that if I had not went, I would have been on the outside looking in, and I don't even know if I would have been able to get into Canada, being able to play as long as I did, you know? Because I trusted in the word of first of all, of a man of God and understood, you know what I mean, where he was coming from. It wasn't about, oh, I'm gonna take over the head coaching job for you and you go. And no, it was love in there.
Love.
Love in there when he spoke to me. And so I'm glad I did, man, because I had a bunch of buddies of mine that played arena at that time. And they was trying to get up to Canada because it was either NFL or Canada at that time. There's no arena league. It was a wrap. So that was a blessing, brother. That was a blessing.
I hear that, man, and it's crazy because I didn't even know you played for the Voodoo, man. It's crazy how our paths were, so similar in a certain way, man. Because I played for the Voodoo coming out, so I went to the UFL, got cut the first year, then I ended up in the Voodoo, and that the power of relationships, man. Because somebody from the UFL team that cut me gave me a good recommendation to the Voodoo. So I played man, I could never get to Canada, man. It was because at first I'm like, man, I ain't going to Canada. I'm playing in the US. That's why I played in the UFL. Right. But that's why I want my younger adults to realize, don't box yourself in thinking that success only has to happen in a certain location or at a certain place, like open yourself up, broaden your horizons, your mindset to be like, hey, maybe I could go and succeed in another place. You went and succeeded and excel beyond measure in Canada, man. And but yeah, man, I could never get it Canada, dog. It was always I was too small. I'm like, come on, dog. I'm like, I know people I'm the same size as playing in Canada. Then they wanted me to, like, after I had my I caught 15 picks in AFL, they wanted me to come to an individual workout, then another workout, then another workout, just to compete for free. I said, come on, bro. I said I didn't put too much skin in the game. To have to do all that, man. But I'm glad.
Just invite me to camp. Show me what you can do. Hey, I show you what I can do. We can go from there.
Man, that's all I was trying to get to, man. But go ahead.
But you know what, though? When you speak of that, though, man, and one thing that kind of came to me was that, you know, teaching each and every one of these young men or just people that's listening in, man, to run your own race. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even when you was coming out of high school and I was coming out of high school, man, I had a bunch of buddies of mine. They were signing with Wisconsin and they were signing the D1 schools. Whereas me, I couldn't pass the ACT. I couldn't get a 17 to save my life. I had to go to junior college. So I'm like, the skill to being able to play, but I didn't have, you know what I mean? I didn't have the grades or the test scores to get to that, you know what I mean? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, man, am I going to be able to make it? But the word of God came, was like, you got to run your own race. Everybody race ain't going to be the same. Whether mine's, you know what I mean, was supposed to be, you know what I mean, in Canada or the NFL, the AFL, it was going to be wherever God placed it to be. And I can guarantee you too, and I know you, is them 15 picks that you got in the arena, I can guarantee you probably could have got them same damn 15 picks in the NFL too, in Canada. Like I told, I would have did the exact same thing that I did in Canada.
Hey, talk that talk, bro. Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Bruh, man, it's crazy that
playmakers make plays, baby.
Hey, it's crazy that you said that, because I wanted to ask you that, man, because people be sleeping on like the arena league and you know, they got definitely way more respect for the Canada, you know what I'm saying? But they be sleeping on like that motion, guarding that motion. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think, because I'm like, to yourself, I'm confident to believe that, hey, God blessed me to make plays in college, high school, college, and I went to the arena. I never played that game. Think about it. We never played guarding emotion. So you're telling me I could learn something at a later age and excel, but I can't go to the NFL and do what I've been doing since I was 5 and excel? You know what I'm saying? So like, what you think, like, as far as just like that skill, like, do you think everybody could play in Canada or arena league, like the guard that motion, or do you think it takes a special ability, like, you know, because I know you know, people can look down and say, well, you ain't make it to the league, you ain't good. But I realize as I mature, that ain't necessarily the case. That everybody that play in the league can't go do what we did in the arena or the CFL. What you think about that, though?
Man, you know what? You said a mouthful there, because we had plenty of guys that have come up here from the NFL.
Yeah,
and they lost in the sauce. They can't cover the motion. They can't guard it. They don't understand the concepts because they've been played in some way. And I think for me, when I came up to Canada, playing in the arena actually helped me out with the motion, understanding the motion somebody's running at, you know, and that was a real enticing thing for why they wanted me to come up and being able to play. You know what I mean? Like that motion hard, man. Like you got to know, like, you get a guy that's running at you, and whether they gonna stop at the dime, 5 yards, you got to get in that motion. You got to come up, tackle on the hitch. They do a stutter and go. Like, it's you got to be ready, man. You got to be ready. But like I said, I think when you make plays at every level, man, no matter where you are, playmakers make plays. That's just what it is.
That.
I mean, that's what it is. No matter when you was little and you was making plays, they knew that, hey, let's just get JK the ball and he gonna make it happen, or he gonna make a play on defense. When you in little league, when you in high school, when you was in college, even when you played arena and you play pro, they knew that. You knew that you was gonna make plays, and that's what it is. And you had some guys that you knew that might have made that wasn't gonna never make no plays. They just
it's crazy you say that, because I hear people like thinking that like habits gonna change, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at somebody in college, they never cause turnovers. So you think he never calls, you know what I'm saying? You got one pick in college, or you never cause turnovers. you think it's just gonna magically happen in the, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you said. So when I hear you say playmakers make plays, right? That's your coaching hat, right? So I know you coach out there in Canada. You got your 7-on-7 association with Canada. You got a camp coming up, the Pick 6 camp, man. So talk a little bit about that, man. You're coaching in Canada, and talk about your company and what you do in the camp that you got coming up.
Man, you know what? When I first hung the cleats up, and I didn't know what I was gonna do, man. I sat in a bit of a little small depression stage because that transition. You know what I mean? You play ball for so long, and there's a transition that goes into it. And so I just knew. I told my wife, I just knew I got a business degree. I don't know what to work with. I can go work at somebody else's company. I can go do XYZ. I just knew that I enjoyed being around kids, teaching kids, coaching kids, you know what I mean? Teaching. And so I was like, well, you know what? We're going to start, the K25 sports, man. Our first thing I started was Tiny Tykes basketball. I did a basketball. It wasn't even football. I did a basketball. I did a basketball camp. And it went off so well. It did. It went off so well because it was a different type of coaching that, up here in Canada, they just don't get. We got a special, there's a little special sprinkle sauce that we have down in the States that, you know what I mean? They don't get it up here about the culture and kind of what we bring. And so that kind of took off. And I started with the 7-on-7. I coached my kids' youth football team, and you watch, and I'm sitting, I played pro, man. I'm sitting watching, what's the development of these kids? What are they lacking? And I'm like, that's what it is. We need some 7-on-7 here to get these boys running, catching, passing, competing, all those things that they learn. So I'm like, I started a little 7-on-7 league up here, man. First year I had 20 kids come out, and 3 of them was mine. So and it's grew, and it's kind of grown from there, because it ain't about whether people sharing it. It's about, God knowing that this is where this needs to be. This is where it needs to go. And so now, we started the whole association 7-on-7 Canada, trying to help people push and develop teams across the country, whether they're little trainers, just to being able to get more kids into playing the game of football. My biggest thing when I finished, man, was I want to grow the game. Like, I want to grow football up here in Canada. I could easily go do this back at the house.
Yeah,
I can have me a 7-on-7 team back in Tennessee, man. Had them boys rolling. We doing XYZ. But like I said, I saw there was a lack here where I came and I played here professionally within the community. Like, how can I help and give back, within that? And so now, man, we just came back from Los Angeles last week, man. I took the kids. USC.
So that was with your company. Y'all took them on a visit. Wow. I know that probably blew their mind, because they probably ain't even been over here, and then let alone going to one of the most prestigious universities in the country.
Man, I'm telling you, man, like the kids, the parents, though, it's like there's nobody that's doing nothing like that, for these kids up here where they don't understand. See, my thing is I'm always about vision. You know what I'm saying? First thing that God told Abraham to say, look at the stars. He gave him a vision. Look at the stars. Your descendants will be numerous as the stars. Look at the sand. And so my thought process is like, if I can't show these kids, maybe they might not go to USC this year, next year, or whatever. But if I can't show them, they can't see that, they'd never be able to dream or to think it, though. They'll never be able to.
Hey, man, that's powerful, dog. Where there's no vision, the people perish, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and I got Pastor Chris Johnson, was he was there when he was there? Yeah. So I'm about to go speak at his Man Maker Academy this week. And what I'm talking about is the will of a man. And one of the things is a man always has to be willing to have a vision. No matter whether your goals fail, whatever stage of life, like right now, you're a husband, father, you know what I'm saying, coach, you got your business CEO, but right now you got to have a vision, because your wife, your kids, they're dependent on you. Like, you got to have your vision. Then when you was a football player, you needed a vision. When you was a kid, you needed a vision. Every step of a man's life, but a person's life in general, you gotta have that vision, bro. You got to, dog. Hey, that is powerful that you're doing that, and that's why. Man, it go right along with my title, bro. I'm telling you, Mr. Canada.
Yes.
The trailblazer up north, bro. Like, what you're doing is how we speak of Naismith, with basketball.
Yeah.
We speak of all these greats. We talk about the genesis of a sport,
Mm-hmm.
bro. They're gonna be talking about you, bro, in Canada if they're not already. I'm pretty sure they talk about you, but years down the road, they're gonna be talking about you on, man, like he really was about growing the game. Like he really brought that American style or mentality and really expanded it across the country, man. So, man, hey, I applaud you, dog. Hey, I applaud you for that, though, bro. For real, man. And you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get you out of here. I ain't gonna hold you up, man. What I do, man, before I let my guests leave, because you're gonna have the last word, but I allow my guests to ask me a question. So any question you want to ask, it'll be about what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just any question in general, I give my guests the opportunity. Since you answered all the questions, I give you
okay
to ask the question, man, and then I answer it, man.
Okay, no, that's good. Now I heard that you speaking at Chris Johnson's Man Maker Academy. Like first story, like before I came up to Tennessee, me and my family, we attended his church. I was one of his deacons in his church. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's crazy.
So that's
full
family
circle,
right
bro.
there. That's family. Like his son's like my nephew, man. So that's family though. So what I'll say too, you going, I know you spoke, at a lot of events. I watch you on IG, man, the videos on YouTube, man, that you do, man. God has really anointed you, being able to give you that power and that purpose, man, of encouragement. You know what I mean? And being able to push forward and being able to tell your story, being able to speak out. So what I'm gonna say is, I know a lot of those young kids at the Man Maker Academy, because I know Murfreesboro. I ain't been there in a while, but I know kind of the circle and the upbringing where a lot of the kids, in the church or trying to go to church, or they wanting to do better, they trying to do better, and there's a bunch of different influences in their life, whether it's mom, dad doing wrong, or there's a lot of stuff, situations at school. So what I'm gonna ask you is, like, knowing the situations that these kids having to deal with, and you talk about the division, how do you preach? How would you put forth to teaching these young men how to instill a vision for themselves if they don't have one?
Well, and it's a good question, because I actually have to do this like with the scholars I teach. Because a lot of them, man, you ask them like, man, what you want to do in life? And I don't know. Right. And so what I encourage them to do is to define that triple threat. And that triple threat is gifts, their purpose, and passion. Right. That's the triple threat. And I believe that if you could identify your gifts, what you're good at, right? Because a lot of kids, I asked a group the other day, I said, man, what's your superpower? Some of them couldn't even tell me what their superpower is. I'm like, my superpower is my voice. Right. That's something that I know I've been blessed by God to be able to use. What is your skill? So getting them to understand and try to look within to find the pros, the good things, because a lot of them, man, I had a scholar tell me before, I was working with it with math, and I said, man, you can do it. He said, no, I'm dumb. I said, bro, you ain't dumb. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 9 years old. He said, nah, my mama said I'm dumb. So it's getting them to get out of what they've been hearing, the negativity, the constant doubt, and the constant you're gonna be just like your daddy. He wanted all of that, right? And so it's trying to just reprogram their perspective of themselves. And so I think starting by, hey, getting them to identify that they got great things in them. They got things that they're good at, and then once they realize that what they're good at, then I'm like, okay, what would you do for free? That you know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably what you're passionate about doing. Like, so how can you take a gift that you have and do it for free, or that you already have and you're doing it for free? That's probably your passion. Now, figuring out your purpose, that's a little bit more in depth. That take more time. So I talked to them, man, about that triple threat, and then I just try to let them know, man, that they are not defined by what they have done, or by what their parents may have done, or lack thereof, by their beginning. Because me, like, I don't have no relationship with my biological father. He left my mom when she was pregnant. So I don't know my biological father. I know no other Kellem man. No other Kellem man I have no relationship with. So I talked to her about that, where identity-wise, as a man, that's tough. Because I can't be like, man, as Kellem men, we lose our hair at this age. Man, you did. So that's hard. Even right now, it's hard because I have nobody to relate to as a Kellem man. But I let them know, like, just because at some point in time, no matter what has happened to us in life, we have to come to a point and say, all right, I'm gonna take ownership of where I am, despite
Amen.
what I did, despite what happened to me, but I'm gonna take control of my future. So me being a father, I can't say, man, you know, my biological father, he wasn't in my life, so that means I ain't gonna be in my kids' life. No, I got to be like, despite him not being there. I was raised by my stepfather, right? And I love my dad, and he continues to be an amazing father in my life. But even in that, it's like I still have a gap there because I don't know my biological father.
Yeah.
So I got to take ownership of where I am and be like, nah, I still got to go out and be the best man, because nobody in this world gonna give me an excuse, especially black men. They ain't giving us no excuse. Yeah, you know, my daddy wasn't there. You know, my mama. They are not giving us any excuse, man. And so when you understand that nobody giving you an excuse, because everybody in the world got something they can really walk around and mope about. Everybody.
Yes, they do.
And so, but the difference is making a choice and deciding that I'm not to. And I'm not saying turn your emotions off, your feelings off. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying tap into those emotions, process your emotions, but you can't live in your emotions. You can't live in that doubt. You can't live in that, you know, frustration. You can't live in that sadness. That you got to be able to pick yourself up and keep going, man. I know that was a lot, but majority is I tap into that triple threat, finding out their gift, their passion, and their purpose, and then I let them know, like, you're not defined by your mistakes or what has happened to you or been done to you, that you could take ownership of your own life, dog.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
That was a good question, though, dog. Appreciate you, man. What that was? Just clapping.
Yeah, I got a little clapping machine right there. Yeah, so I got.
You big time, dog. Hey, you big time with that, man. Hey, nah, but hey, I'm gonna let you, man, close it out, man. Just really, man, giving words, like you said, words of encouragement, man. Just telling the people where they can find you, right? Letting them know where they can find you. Your social media, tell them about your camp, and then just words of encouragement for some young adults out there, man, that are listening, for people in general that are listening out there, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate, man, you taking the time in and invite me on the show today, man. Like, it was definitely a blessing, and you know, we prayed before we got on the show this morning to being able to be a light of encouragement for those who may seem worried or unsure about themselves, or just not knowing kind of what's next. You know what I mean? Like, we've been in those spaces. I've been in those spaces. JK, he's been in those spaces, and we understand what you may be going through at this moment in time. But I want you to be able to trust and believe that God has a plan for you. No matter what the situation you're in right now, no matter if bills is just piling up, or your parents not around, or your relationship problems, just things just going bad, just trust and believe. I want you to trust and believe and have faith and understand that, you know what I mean, speak life into your situation. You know, it's times when sometimes I'm not feeling well, and I got to trick myself into feeling good. I'll get up and I'll yell and I'll say God is good, even in the midst of a valley where it is so hard. So I want to leave you with words of encouragement to understand that your shortcomings today is not dictated on what your future is for tomorrow. And so I want you to know God has an amazing story for you, and your testimony for each and every one of you young people that is tuned into this podcast and continue to support my brother. Continue to do your thing. Continue to make sure y'all tune in and follow me on social media as well, Mr. Raymond 25. But at the end of the day, understand, man, the one we should be following is Jesus Christ. So I want y'all to tune in, make sure we lock in and grow a relationship. So speak life into every situation that you have. The glass is never half empty. It's always half full.
Hey, well said, my brother. Well said. Hey, definitely, man. I appreciate you for coming on, dog. Hey, thank y'all, those that have tuned in live, man. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Keon'n Raymond, like you said, on this IG, man. Those in Canada, hey, y'all got a jewel out there, man, a gem out there that's continuing to bless you all, and God's continuing to work through him to bless you all, man. And man, pray for continued blessings, man, to your whole family, man. I know with young Keon'n going off, man, I know y'all excited about going to the game.
Yeah.
Hey, so hey, congrats on that, man. And hey, to everybody that tuned in, I appreciate you, man. Y'all continue to wake up, striving to win on purpose, be intentional about winning. And y'all have a blessed day, man. And I'll see y'all next Thursday.